Quest 26, Smell of Skuntank and Weezing. Haruba Village, Oscar. I have another Pokemon capture request. Please note, you are required to complete Quest 14 to gain access to this quest. Ranger, we meet again. It's me, the collector of fragrances. I'd hate to ask, but I'd like you to do another quest for me. So you may ask yourself, what is missing from Oscar's collection of fragrances? Why? None other than Weezing and Skuntank. I implore you to bring them back to me. Great! I'm gonna smell like shit after this quest. For Skuntank, you will need to fly to the oil-filled hideout. Climb up the ladder and take the elevator down to the underwater level. Exit the elevator room and head west through the underwater tunnel to arrive to a section with a pet door. Head towards the southern western area and enter the room that is closest to that section. There you should find Skuntank inside. For Weezing, you will need to fly to the Almia castle via the ice lake and enter the castle. Head towards the dining room and take the door closest to the eastern part of the room. Climb up the stairs and there you should find Weezing. Once both Pokemon have been captured, then return back to the Haruba village. Talk to Oscar and he will take a fragrance sample of both poison Pokemon. The quest ends with Oscar thanking you and walking into the distance. You will obtain the Dark Defense power up and have the quest cleared. Quest 27, Capture Gigaremo units. Haruba Village, Henry. I'm sincerely sorry. Blah blah blah. I'll make it up to you by passing a piece of news you will find most fascinating. Skipping over what I just read, I was in Hippowdon Temple when I saw them. They got to be the latest Gigaremos. They weren't expressive machines, mind you, I won't make that mistake again. And wonders of wonders, the Gigaremos were moving on their own power. Isn't this where you come in? Sure. If you say so. Like Henry said, you will need to go into the Hippowdon Temple via the Haruba Desert. Enter the temple and naturally advance through it, using the appropriate field moves when necessary. Eventually, you should reach a room where you should be automatically halted by a duo of Claydols. Henry will rush in proclaiming the Leviathan Pokemon are some sort of new Gigaremo models. For whatever reason, the Claydols will rush you and you will be forced into a battle. Once the battle has been completed, Henry will come to a realization that the Pokemon are not Gigaremos, but the Pokemon Claydol. The quest ends with Henry apologizing for wasting your time and walking back to his coffee shop. You will obtain the Ghost Defense power up and have the quest cleared. Quest 28, Elaine's favorite, Veentown, Ollie. Protagonists, I have a favor to ask of you. I was wondering if you can help me. For the longest time, I've been thinking of ways I can make Elaine happy. You know, to repay her for treating my burns and everything else. So, I thought it might make her happy to see her favorite kind of Pokemon. I asked her about it, and she told me her favorite, Dragonair. Blah blah blah. Can you bring back a Dragonair for me? They live in the Almia castle supposedly. Dragonair has such a simple design yet an elegant feel to it, so I can see why Elaine would like it. Fly to the Almia castle via the ice lake and enter the castle. Head towards the dining area and take the northernmost door and keep advancing forward until you reach the area with a save point. Enter the door in the western area of the room facing north to enter the kitchen. Inside is where you should find Dragonair. Once captured, return back to Veentown. Talk to Ollie and he will gaze in awe at the beauty of Dragonair. He will call Elaine and she will be overjoyed in the sight of Dragonair. The quest ends with Elaine thanking you and Ollie, with both of them returning back into the ranger base. By completing this quest, you will now always find Dragonair in the Almia castle. You will obtain the Combo Plus power up and have the quest cleared. Quest 29, Murph's Ranger Contest. Ranger Union, Murph. The 4th Murph Ranger contest is on its way here and now. Ladies and gentlemen, the 4th Murph Ranger contest is underway. The rules are simple. The first Pokemon to bring all 7 Pokemon that can evolve from Eevee wins. Bonus points if you capture Sylveon. Blah blah blah. Protagonist, you will take part, right? Well, at least it's easier than the Guardian Science version. A quick note, I would recommend you leave Jolteon and Vaporeon as the last 2 captures because they don't require the assistance of another Pokemon to access them. For Glaceon, you are required to capture an Empoleon for the level 2 River Flow field move. Fly to the Ice Lake via the Almia Castle route. If needed, an Empoleon can be found just south of the Ice Lake save point. Once captured, head towards the southern eastern port and use the level 2 River Flow field move to surf. Stay on the left side of the river so the current can push you to the correct route. Enter the next area while staying left and you should find another dock nearby. Land on it and head north to the next area where you should find Glaceon. For Leafeon, you are required to use level 1 River Flow field move. Fly to Town ahead towards the Veen Forest. Head north towards the burnt area and go to the western route to the next area. If needed, a Floatzel with the level 1 River Flow field move can be found nearby. Take the southern route and you should reach a river dock. Surf on the water and take the western route to the next area. Land on the first dock you see and go to the southern western part of that area where you should find Leafeon. For Umbreon, you are required to capture Drifloon for the Elevate field move. Fly to the Chroma Ruins via the Chroma Highland and enter the ruin. You are required to go to the deep levels of the ruin by dropping 2 floors through the pit holes that Sandshrew provided earlier in the game. Upon dropping through the second pit hole, you should see on the top screen another pit hole on the east side. Go east and use Drifloon's Elevate field move to reach the higher level. If needed, Drifloon can be found slightly north of the second pit hole. Upon reaching the higher level, you should find Umbreon. For Flareon, you are required to capture a Torkoal for the Magma Flow field move. Fly to Boil Land and enter the Volcano Cave via the eastern entrance. Upon entering, you should find a Torkoal. Capture it, if needed, and use the Magma Flow field move. While walking through the lava, go to the northern western side of the room and enter the next area. Once there, head north where you should find a place to land on. There you should find Flareon. For Espeon, you are required to capture Drifloon for the Elevate field move. Fly to the Hippowdon Temple via the Haruba Desert and enter the temple. Just naturally advance through the temple and capture Drifloon to progress where necessary. Eventually you'll reach a room with a bunch of arrow panels on the floor. It's rather easy to get lost in the maze, so I left the directions I took in the video without any jump cuts to hopefully help anyone who is struggling with this section. The video is sped up, so hopefully it's not too fast. Anyhow, the panel should take you to the eastern part of the room where you should find a door that will lead you into another room. Inside is where you should find Espeon. For Jolteon, fly to the Haruba village and take the western stairs upwards towards the Haruba Desert. Once there, just head slightly north where you should find Jolteon. Now for a moment of silence for the Pichu that has been on my team for 4 years. Lastly, for Vaporeon, fly to the Almia Tower via the Almia building and enter the tower. Just head up the stairs and eventually you should find a blue room. This is where you should find Vaporeon. Once all Eevee evolutions have been captured, then comes a long, tedious run back to the Ranger Union. Talk to Murph and he will declare you the awesome superstar. Quest pretty much ends with applause from an overjoyed audience, all 4 of them. You will obtain the time assist power up and have the quest cleared. Before we start the next quest, there is a certain someone we need to capture outside a specific school. Welcome back, buddy. Quest 30, Roserade Red, Roserade Blue, Ranger Union, Remy. The flowers on Roserade's right hand, was it red or was it blue? Whoa, you can't go up there. Stop, stop. The roses aren't... Oh yes, you can help us with this. The roses in Roserade's right hand, what color is it? Red or blue? That's right, yes. We were arguing over that. Whether a Roserade's right hand is red or blue. We need to know. Honestly, we're really fighting over that. Pretty please? Think of this as a once in a lifetime plea. We want you to capture a Roserade right now. It's one of those quests. Exit the Ranger Union and head south through the Ranger Road to reach the dock. You are required to use a Pokemon with the level 1 River Flow field move. If needed, a Floatzel can be found nearby. Use the River Flow field move and surf through the southern route. Eventually, you should fall off a waterfall and find an area with a dock located in the middle of the river. When you have landed, head south until you find an area with a save point. Around the southern part of that area should be a cave where you should find a Roserade nearby. Once captured, return back to the Ranger Union. Talk to Remy and she will demand your character to rush upstairs. Turns out that both Remy and Linda were wasting your time to make you do a worthless fetch quest. Honestly, this was such a pointless quest. You will obtain the bug defense power up and have the quest cleared. Hey guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for watching till the end of the video. Greatly appreciated. So, quest 26 to 30 is done. Whoa, we're halfway there. We're halfway there, boys, girls, ladies and gents. I mean, I've already narrated past this part. I've already done 31 to 35, and actually, I've done 31 to 35, that is done. 36 to 40 is currently just being edited, like sound-wise, narration-wise. It's not even done, not even close. Alright, so, that's that update, and yeah. Let's just recommend you to the other ones. So on the left here, we have, quests 21 to 25, that will be the previous quest. I'm not entirely sure what that is, so there you go. And on the right, we will have quest 31 to 35, which I still don't remember what they are, but I do know one of them you get a new partner. So I know Cranidos is your new partner, which is nice. So that will be that. Partner quests is, most of the partner quests are in the 40s. I know that much. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Oh, if you want to follow me on Twitter, MIP_647, I'll tweet some stuff once a blue moon. And on the right, on the right. And my Facebook link is, I finally remembered to do this stupid gag. Gee, 2 videos in a row, I forgot it. 26 to 30, I don't remember if I did that. I know 26 to 30 was Blue Yeti debut, but I don't remember doing an Endslate gag. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. So till then, see ya.